All right, we are recording. Welcome to the Uptown Properties weekly market update. There's not much new data this week. So I'm going to go through some of the data points that we're talking about. So first data point on our list is the Mortgage Credit Availability Index. And this index essentially tells us how easy it is to get a loan, how willing lenders are able to borrow. And kind of a thing that would affect this index would be like the availability of what's called like a no-doc loan. So right now, the mortgage index is relatively low. This is about, I think the lowest was around 2009, 2010, which is around 95 or 90, which was really low credit availability. And its highest point was in, I think, 2007, where it was up near 800. So this scale kind of like ranges wildly. Just before the pandemic, it was about 180. And something that would affect this index would be the availability for a no-doc loan, or and that's something like where you would be able to just say what your income is, kind of like you're applying for a credit card. You can write down whatever you want for your income, and then they will take it as stated. So that's the Mortgage Credit Availability Index. Next thing is, how much is $100,000 principal interest on a 30-year fixed loan? And we're just tracking the rate that's available out there on average based on Freddie Mac's data for a $100,000 loan. So principal and interest is $404, and this data is actually new. It's we're near record low at 2.67%, and and this also states that you'd be paying 0.7 of a point. So 1 point would equal 1% of the loan in fees to execute the loan. So I guess that's to buy down the rate. So when you're getting a loan, there's things called points, and you've got full points and then basis points. So when somebody talks about a point, that is 100 basis points. And so I think that covers the Freddie Mac mortgage rate. This is a new number that I think is going to be an important one to track, and that is the amount of, the percentage amount of mortgage loans in forbearance. And that is up at 5.49%. And it's up, from last week. And, during normal times, forbearance runs at something like 0.09%. So this is up 55 times on that. And during the Great Recession, in 2009, 2010, pretty similar rate of forbearance. And forbearance is basically something that would be offered to a homeowner who is going through financial trouble and cannot pay their mortgage, or is choosing to try and save their reserves, and asking the lender to help them, stay financially sound. So forbearance is a good thing, but it does show that there is the real estate market, at least mortgage mortgage holders are somewhat in distress, similar distress to 2007 and 2008. Okay, then we've got what's the average price. This is actually median. Whoops. But median price of a home, and the median price of a home, it essentially shows you, what is a normal house going to cost. The reason why we use the median is because sometimes there's really expensive houses that get sold for like $10 million, and it really skews, the average amount. So yeah, the median price of a home, and then we're looking at the national index, and we get these numbers from NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and then in PDX we get them from the RMLS. Okay, then we chat about inventory. I guess one thing I missed there is that we're talking single family homes here, and inventory. This explains, how many houses are available on the market, and at the current rate of consumption, how quickly we'll run out of houses, compared to last month. So the inventory number is pretty fluid, and it's based off of consumption as of last month. And we are at all-time lows. I mean, I don't have new data for December. Well, I have new data for December for PDX, but not for the national numbers. And yeah, so these are all-time lows, and there's not that many available homes. Then, we've got new listings, pending listings, and sold listings. A new listing is a new house that's come on the market. A pending listing is a house that has been listed on the market, and the person listing the home, the seller, has accepted an offer, but it hasn't closed yet. So they still have to go through the inspection period. The buyer still has to get a loan, and generally 30 to 45 days later, that home will turn into sold, and then sold is pretty straightforward. Okay, moving on to rent data. We get this from apartmentlist.com, and they have a national rent index that we're tracking, and then we track Multnomah County for Portland. We've got the west side, and that's just Beaverton, and then the east side is Gresham. We're just looking at month over month numbers. Actually, and we're tracking like since COVID as well. And this, a change in this index is just showing the percentage change on the median rent price for all rental sizes in the area. So, national rent index, they're just accumulating as much data for every rental as possible, and then throwing it into a big pot and pulling, the percentage change from the last month. And the same for Multnomah County, Beaverton, and Gresham. Okay, looking at net migration. So net migration is a great indicator of how healthy the market is. And so we're specifically looking at how healthy Oregon and Portland is. During 2015, 16, 17, we were, ranked as one of the top places to move. National movers studies like United Van Lines, they all put out like, oh, where are people moving? Like, where are most of our vans going? And Portland was at the top of that list during 2015, 16, 17, and that has changed quite a bit. People are moving to Boise, Phoenix, Provo, Utah, Spokane in search of more affordable places to live, and also, new up and coming, vibrant, places. So the net migration, I think, follows kind of the industrial construction. And Spokane has had a ton of industrial construction. So I would expect that Spokane will stay up at the top. Or Portland is not terrible though. I think we were ranked ninth on best places to live by Newsweek, and we're kind of hovering in that top 25. So we still have a very healthy market, and yeah, I'm very excited to invest here. Okay, jobs and Oregon jobs. So this is actually new numbers, and I think it's very interesting. So we pull the ADP National Jobs Report, and this just came out a couple days ago. And let me zoom in here. So we lost 123,000 jobs in December, and over the past 10 years, I think there have only been 2 or 3 months where the country has lost jobs. And 2 of those months were March and April of this year. And then I think like in September of 2017. So this, the jobs and the unemployment numbers really tell a lot about the overall health of the economy. And I guess what I can take away from this jobs report is that budgets are getting revised. Hotels, transportation, there. One of the details in this job loss is that there were about 60 or 70,000 jobs lost in transportation. So city budgets are revised. People are getting laid off for next year. Same thing. Most of the losses came from large corporations. So those budgets were getting revised, and hotels, restaurants, and there are companies going out of business too. So that those fall into the job loss situation as well. We don't have any new data for Oregon, but I would expect that it will reflect the national trend. And yeah, it's just a little bit concerning for the economy. So there is the weekly market update from Uptown Properties. Thank you guys.